special meeting of the Board of Finance. I'd like to call that to order. It's 1 o'clock on Saturday, March 12th. So Brian, we're here with the chief from Darien Fire Department. Brian, there were a few things on the capital list I was hoping you could maybe just walk us through. They are, for the Darien Fire Department, they were the mutual aid radio, the ladder monitor, the rescue jacks, the bailout kits, and then the Board of Selectmen chose not to include the portable rescue boat. But if you could talk to that, and then also maybe just walk us through and give us a quick tour of what's going on with Rescue 44.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start with the mutual aid radio. So that mutual aid radio is what they call a tri-band radio. It allows us to communicate with Norwalk using Darien and then also Stamford. That's huge because all three towns, well, the two cities, we're all on different bandwidths on the radios. So I can't communicate using any of our portables to them directly. So this would allow me, if we have to go mutual aid into them, or if they're coming mutual aid in to assist us with a call, that would help us be able to communicate better, as opposed to being face to face with somebody on a scene.
Now, does that just allow the trucks to communicate?
No, this is a
portable radio.
This is a one portable radio. This is just one radio for the one chief's car.
So you would communicate with them and then dispatch the info to your trucks?
Yeah, so you would basically get in contact with what they call Car 2 up in Norwalk, and he would be able to relay information to us. They're changing their radio system now, so some of the communication stuff we have now is going to be obsolete very soon. So this is going to bring us to the same level that we are right now with them. Stamford currently, I don't have a way to communicate with them, and we do go mutual aid with the tanker quite a lot. I shouldn't say quite often, but enough that we need to be able to communicate with Stamford. So that would allow us to be able to talk to them on fireground channels as well.
Is that primarily for 95, or is that for
It could be
anything?
It could be for anything. We could be going up on 95 for instance, they had a car carrier fire up there that we went mutual aid with the tanker and a couple chief's cars to assist them in water supply. The Rowton Heights also brought one of their units up there as well, their tanker. It's fundamental that we all stay in communication when we start operating on a fire scene. So this is something very important that we need to continue to do. This will allow us to bring us one step closer by having Stamford involved as well.
So the chief can communicate with the other departments
Yeah.
and relay that back.
Yep.
And it's one single radio device
Correct.
that costs $7,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
We did a capital replacement over the past 2 years and updated all the radios, portable radios for all the firefighters, and added some additional ones. This way, whoever steps off the truck has a radio with them, and that's valuable on a fire scene. If there's an incident that they need to communicate with the incident commander, they can. So, we upgraded all the radios. They were, I believe, 25 years old, the previous one, so it was time. They were not supported by Motorola anymore, so as radios started to malfunction, we weren't able to repair them.
How long do you think they'll last? Like how long with this new generation last?
I mean, I'm hoping to get the same lifespan. It's technology.
Right, exactly.
I really don't have a good answer for that, but I'm hoping that we can see the same lifespan as we did with the other radios.
And the standard portable radios, not the mutual aid radio, but the standard ones, do you coordinate purchasing with the other two departments in town, or is it each department does that kind of on its own?
I mean, there's some small conversation about it. For the most part, we bought similar radios. Some of the other two departments have a little bit different needs, but for the most part, the platform of the radio is pretty similar.
Do the radios go on, how our cell phones are 4G, 5G? What band are they traveling on?
So we're in the 400s band. We operate on, I believe, not cell towers. We operate on 3 towers just for the operations of Darien Fire, EMS, Police, DPW, And those towers are what we use to
And
communicate.
we took, if I recall, there used to be a blind spot or a dead spot someplace up north that we resolved that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that all those areas that were hard to communicate have been corrected. You know, with updating the towers and everything. So that's the radio.
And then the ladder monitor.
The ladder monitor is actually right here. It's up on the tip of the truck here. So this is something we're interested in replacing with something that's a little more traditional. This one's all electronic. And what we've noticed is when we get to a structure fire and we have to pierce the water into the building, this one typically does not do that. So we want something that is a smooth bore and that hand operates. This one operates too slow for some of our needs.
So how does it? What does it monitor?
So it's actually, this is the water flow.
Okay.
This is actually where the water comes out. One of the engines will tie into the side of the truck up front, and then it'll pump water through the waterway. And then this is what they call a fog nozzle. So this one puts out a broad pattern, and it can isolate down to a pretty decent steady stream, but it's still not enough power to be able to punch through the roofs and do some of the operations that we've come across. So we're looking to change that so we could actually pierce into the building and rip some of the sheathing with the nozzle. And it would be hand operated, not electronic as it is now.
Got it. So is that So you actually operate it electronically when you're sitting up in the bucket?
Yeah, so I can operate that currently up in the bucket and or through a remote pad.
Got it.
So you just changed the nozzle assembly?
It's the mid mount from the bolts here up would be changed. It's just that one section.
And do you do other? I think we have two other ladder trucks in town.
So this is actually called a tower ladder. This is a man basket. This is the only one of its kind in the town of Darien. The other two are ladder trucks, so they're straight sticks. The Roten Ladder 30 is a 100-foot stick, and the Roten Heights has a 75-foot similar stick, but it's just 25 feet shorter.
And how high is this one?
This is a 75-foot.
Got it.
But each department has a different piece of equipment. None of us have the same piece of equipment. For instance, we had a chimney fire. This one wasn't long enough to get to where we needed to get to for the chimney fire. So I called the Roten Fire. They came out with their 100-foot stick and we were able to get the ladder where we needed to be. Which is very important that we don't, we work together and utilize the equipment in town.
Okay. The other one was the rescue jack and the bailout kits.
So the bailout kits, let's just grab a set of gear and let me show you. Currently we don't have any bailout kits, but this has got an integrated harness on the equipment. So the bailout kit would actually lock into this harness and it would clip onto the window, and if you needed to make a quick evacuation out a window because you lost your means of egress to get out, this would allow us to clip on a windowsill, a door sill, anything, and jump out, and it will descend you down at a safe speed. It's actually critical firefighting equipment if something happens and we need to evacuate the building.
So is this basically one kit for each individual?
It's one kit for each active individual. It mounts to the gear and it stays on the gear. We've got the integrated harnesses already on the majority of our gear. We don't have the bailout system.
Got it. And the bailout system, is that one size for everyone?
It's the
Like
same.
1 story versus 10 story. Like how?
So Darien, I think the tallest our buildings are 35 feet. That's the planning and zoning regulation. So the kits that we looked into would cover all our bases for anything we deal with in Darien.
And what about some of the new buildings that we see coming up around town, like in Recertification Heights and the new ones in Corbin?
So I believe that the top of those to the bottom is 35 feet. I don't think the zoning changed on that. I mean, unless somebody knows.
Only Corbin, I thought they were waiting on Corbin by the 95 of whether or not they were going to get some extra space. But I don't know that that was for an apartment. I think that was just because they needed retail, can't be typical 8 feet. It has to be something like 14 feet. And so that's but I could be wrong. P&Z is not my
Well,
expertise.
this bailout equipment, is this something that just this department is requesting, or all three?
So, you're gonna have to ask this question to them, but I know that Heights currently has quite a few of the bailout kits if they don't have everything already done.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure with Norotan, but I believe that they also have some sort of bailout system. And, you know, we spent a lot of time looking into making sure that we found a bailout system that works for our needs. It happens to be the same system that Norwalk also runs.
Got it. Okay, yeah, they don't have, those are not included in their budgets, so we can ask them if they already have.
I believe that they were already done.
Got it. And what are the rescue jacks?
So the rescue jacks, I have some similar styles, but not this, not the particular equipment that we were looking in there. So we got a small set here.
What are they generally just used
So,
for?
they're used for stabilization. So in here, I have these two here.
Yep.
This is a very simple system, but it's not a very durable system. I'll show you another system on the rescue in the 44 over in the corner.
Ryan, what would you use these for?
Stabilization of a vehicle that was rolled over on its
Okay.
side. These are very light use. They're more for a car. So the equipment that we're after would be more along the lines of tractor trailer incident, which is very common on 95.
Got it. And are these like hydraulically powered? Or?
No, all manual, all manual. I'll show you guys the one that's a little difficult in this car. So generally what happens is, this is the part that would lock into some sort of purchase point on the vehicle. It could be the undercarriage of the vehicle that's on its side. This would extend out, and then you would tie this back off to the vehicle so the vehicle can't roll back on us while we're working. It stabilizes the vehicle so it's safe for us to work.
Got it.
So this is a lighter duty version of what we're after on that as well.
Looks like it's gonna be secondary wires.
Any questions?
Not all the way down.
So you had some other questions, like the boat?
Yeah, I think, you know, the Board of Selectmen, they removed the rescue boat from this year's budget, which, just talk about the use. Do you guys currently have one? And
We did, we took it out of service. It used to be up there, on the top up there. We took it out of service. It was no longer safe, and there was no bringing it back. It's an inflatable boat. It's a small rescue boat. The intended purpose of it is to, for instance, all the flooding we had in the past year, which was more than I think anybody's seen here. I mean, the town garage got 11 feet of water,
yeah.
so.
Do any of the other departments currently have a smaller, like inflatable like that?
We have the sea legs, which is it's a powered boat with wheels on it that can drive on land. And I believe they have a smaller Zodiac as well.
Got it.
So it's one of those things though, when you got a call on this side of town and the bridge is flooded here, we're gonna get that equipment from that side of town over here. So it's nice to have the equipment staged at different areas. And to me, that seems like a minimal cost for, you know, safe operations on an incident.
Okay. And how did you launch the boat when it was up there?
It would come down and we would stick it in our small pickup. We have a utility pickup that we can launch the boat. And there was no motor on it, it was just a paddle out boat, but you could put the people who needed to be rescued would go in the boat and then we would bring them back to a safe environment.
Okay. Well, I think the only other, the other, the biggest item is the replacement of a Rescue 44.
So Rescue 44, we're looking to replace it. I actually happen to be the town mechanic as well, so I'm pretty familiar with the engines and drivetrains and equipment. This truck's got a lot of mechanical issues, and it's been having a lot of issues. There's actually parts of this truck that are still not functioning properly. And I'm unable to get the parts that were designed for this truck. So the only way to fix some of this is actually to re-engineer certain aspects of it. One of the biggest parts is the light tower doesn't work because the air system that's on this unit with the manifolds does not work. I can't get the parts, they're no longer manufactured, so it would require a retrofit.
It's just the air system that fills up the,
So it fills up the light tower with air to extend it. So some of these components on this truck, like the light tower alone, you're probably looking at $35,000, $40,000 just for the light tower. The truck's got quite a few issues. We do still have some warning light issues where we'll be on a scene and our lights will go out. Still haven't been able to track down the issue with that. This truck has been giving us some problems, and it really needs to be replaced.
and how old is this?
This is a 2002, I believe.
Does a truck like this have any salvage value?
It does. There are companies out there, whatever company we decide to go with at the time of when we go to purchase, they will take it in as a trade-in. I can't put a dollar figure on what the trade-in is going to be like, but they will take it on a trade-in.
Are the fire engines, in the past 18 to 24 months from when we do the specs on the fire engines, we would have it delivered, was the typical prior time frame.
So we're looking at,
I'm asking now because you can't even get the stuff for the cars. What's the time frame now from order to delivery?
bare minimum, 24 months, but I would probably say closer to 30, 36 months.
Okay. And same financials, 25% down, 75% when we get delivery?
It depends on the manufacturer that we go with. I don't know what they're going to require at the time of contract signing. The only thing I do know is a lot of the manufacturers are going with a price increase very shortly, June, July. So you're probably looking at a 5 to 8% increase on the cost of the vehicle in June, July area. I haven't gotten any final details on that. I'm waiting for the truck committee to come back to me with some of those.
And Brian, what's the primary purpose or use of this truck, of this rescue truck?
So this was our first new piece of equipment. We've kind of restructured a little bit. We now use engine 41 as the first due, and this is the second due for extrications, motor vehicle accidents, fluid spills, any type of hazmat incidents. This is the vehicle for that. But due to some of the issues we've been having with this, we switched over to engine 41 as our first new piece of equipment. Upon purchasing a new vehicle, this will go back as the first new piece of equipment. So this is,
For just accidents or fires or anything?
so if it's a structure fire, it does roll. It carries a ton of air bottles on there, so we have plenty of air as we're operating on the scene. It acts as a people carrier. This one currently takes 6 people. The new one, we're looking to carry about 12 people. On motor vehicle accidents, this is what we have most of our extrication equipment on, our jacks, our wood cribbing, anything that we would need to cut somebody out of a car, it's on this truck.
Jaws of life, those things?
Yes, yeah. We do have that on engine 41 as well, but I want to get this back to being our first new piece of equipment. What you're looking at is a big toolbox. You know, it shows up with everything you need, and there's really no thought. You know it's on there.
And do each of the departments have a similar type of rescue truck, equipment truck?
So this is the biggest one in town. Norotan Heights has one that's very well equipped, and Norotan has one as well.
Does I'm going back to the timing. And there's rationale for why I'm asking this. From when, let's say we know we're going to buy a fire engine, how long does it take from knowing that to come to the final specs in time frame of what you want to order from the manufacturer? I mean, do you know going in, and so like within 1 month after we say, yeah, you got it, you can put in an order? Or does it take more time?
So, let me see if I got this correct. What we're doing now is there's a committee form that's trying to pick the truck, all the tools that have to go on it, the layout, what do we need to change, what do we need to add. That should be done prior to you guys voting on the purchase. So right after you guys vote on the purchase, it's a phone call to say we're moving forward with it. Does that kind of answer your question?
It does, because I'm concerned of a June increase, and that's something you and I can talk about.
So that is definitely a concern, because you are looking close to $1 million on this piece of equipment. So we are talking big numbers with a 5 to 8%. And I definitely gonna have to confirm with the committee to make sure that those are the numbers and it's not higher than that.
Got it. But in terms of actually having the specs done, where
Yeah.
you could lock in price, how long does that take to actually, once you choose a manufacturer?
They've been working on that for about, I would probably say about 6-7 months now, and they're very close to finalizing what they want, and soon enough I'll have a full CAD drawing of something that we could put out to bid.
So let me ask a little bit more direct. Would you have it done in April? I'm trying to look at from timing of when we can.
There is a
approve.
possibility to that, and if you told me that I had to, I could definitely push to have that done. I wouldn't.
Because if we do I'll tell you the reason why. If we do a budget, and we approve a budget May 9th, which is when the RTM will finally do their budget, it says that your effective purchase of that approval date is July 1st.
Well,
In
if we
theory.
bond it, it's actually available 10 days after the RTM.
Right, so that's what
meeting,
I'm saying is
yeah.
that if we were to expedite it, then you would be able to put it in sooner and potentially avoid a price increase.
So, the July 1st thing wouldn't really affect this. If you came to us at May 9th or May 10th and said, go ahead with the rescue project, that's a simple phone call to the manufacturer, say, we're done, we're locked in, this is what we're doing, and we can sign contract on it and hold the price.
Okay, that's why I was asking.
Yeah, I could definitely get the company to hold on the contract price.
Right, since this isn't cheap,
No,
5%,
yeah,
It's a lot.
5% is a lot of money.
And in terms of the truck, just if it's going to carry more people, are you thinking about a larger truck, similar size,
It's
different
definitely gonna be a
design?
little bit larger. That looks like the way the committee's going. There's a few things that we're gonna add to the truck, a little more involved for the hazmat. So when we get on some spills on 95, accidents where you have diesel fuel, we can carry a little bit more speedy dry, the booms, a little bit more additional equipment instead of sending somebody back here to get stuff off the back shelves. Or out of the shed in the back. So it's definitely gonna look like a little bit bigger than what we got now.
Okay.
Be happy to show you the truck if you guys wanna do a quick
Yeah,
walk
it'd be
around.
great to take a look.
So, this is our airbag system. This is what allows us to lift at very small increments if somebody or something needed to be lifted. If somebody was trapped under this vehicle, that's what we would use to lift the vehicle. We can control it, right down to the half an inch. These are all our straps and chains that go along with that and the rescue jacks. We have the plasma cutter, which can cut any type of steel. So if there's something when we get out there, we need to cut steel. We have a demolition hammer if we gotta bust up concrete. Anything on like a building collapse, anything like that. So on this is all the spare air cylinders. So when this shows up to a structure fire, the guys can grab these cylinders and swap out on their packs. And then up here is just some more lifting equipment, the Sidewinder, the high lift jacks. It's just different type of lifting equipment. You know, you never know what type of equipment you're going to need on the scene. This is the small toolboxes that carry all the socket sets. These are the cutting discs and screws. So if we need to shore up something, we have screws, the drills, impact guns, sawzalls, there's circular saws, band saws, screwdriver, just all your power tools, different digging bars, another tool kit. Yeah, so I'll show you in the back of the truck. The truck itself produces air, but not efficiently, so there's cylinders in the back that have to get filled up from the firehouse here. The new truck that we're looking at is gonna have a system that automatically fills those cylinders. This way, if you're somewhere for a prolonged time and need a lot of air, you got it. Generator, lighting, tarps, these are your cord reels, this is the winch. We actually just used that on a scene not too long ago to drag the car off underneath the tractor trailer.
Wait, is that attached to the front of the truck?
It actually attaches to the front of the truck, any side and the rear. We have winch pockets all over. This way, whatever angle you need to approach at, you can. The other side's a little tight. I could, yeah, it's pretty tight over there.
Okay.
So there's 4 in the back, 2 in the front. And then it's a walk-in rescue, which you guys could, if you want to step in there, you're more than welcome to.
You carry your jaws of life in this?
Of Darien Fire Department today.
What's that?
How many members of Darien Fire Department today?
I'd have to look, but I want to say there's probably 75.
Of just Darien?
Yeah, yeah,
Like, not including the other two, right? Just Darien?
just area.
That's great.
The last structure fire we had 34 of just our members there.
That's great. And it's amazing you're all volunteers, and, you know, that's...
Well, one of the issues one of the best issues I've ever come across is the fact that I had to turn people away at the last fire we had. So we just had too many people there. So that just goes to show how strong the system's working right now.
And that was all within DFD, or was that other
So
departments?
that during the day we were automatic mutual aid for any incident that comes in as a structure fire. The dispatchers know it automatically tone out. So when that upgraded to an actual fire, all 3 departments were paged. Right? And it got to the point I had more manpower than we knew what to do with, and I just had to start turning trucks down and saying, "No, just hang on your quarters." I think that's a very good problem to have.
Well, it's an amazing service that you guys do for the community. To have 3 volunteer fire departments in a town like Darien, I think in this many volunteers, it's great. I see that there in some of the departments, some high school kids that are members as well.
Yeah, we got a couple of these, some of the greatest kids you could possibly imagine.
That's great, so.
One thing I got you guys want to remember though, so on average, you get calls here and there. You know, we're running just shy of 600 calls for this department. During a storm, every one of these trucks is out the door, and they're loaded up with guys, and they're all going to different calls. You could get a lot of calls in a short period of time where every one of these trucks is actually out working independently by themselves. And then if they, the fire up off of Mansfield was during a storm. We had a lightning strike over on Red Rose, and Hamilton Lane had a structure fire going on up there. And that was a lot of apparatus went up there because everybody was already on the road. But every piece of equipment during a storm is out. It's out and working. So And you see, as much equipment we have here, there's a need for it. There's a need for it.
And Brian, I understand just in terms of, I know you work for the town, the new Public Works garage, I think, was that garage bay, was that built large enough to actually, can it handle some of the work on fire trucks?
It can, to a certain extent, yeah, it can. It can accommodate the size of almost every vehicle in town. Yeah, we could do some light service stuff out of there.
Okay.
So we do utilize the wash bay over there. I kind of know the guy that works over there, so we'll go over there every once in a while and utilize the hot water wash bay and do the undercarriages of the truck. That was a great addition to the town by being able to get that bay over there.
Okay. Well, this is great. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, no worries.
Thank you for today, and thank you for every other day of the year.
No problem. My email is my name. It's bfrancois@darienct.gov. Anybody needs anything, questions, comments, whatever, feel free to reach out to me. It's no big deal.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be seeing everybody, I think, at 3 o'clock.
Yes.
Bill time is 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I'll see you guys over at the shop.
Yeah, I'll send you an email or text if we're running behind.
No worries. I'll be over there anyway.
Okay,
Thank
thanks.
you.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Your public generation.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brendan Keane. I'm the chief here at Groton Fire Department. This is Mike Burkhart. He's our president. And we're here to give you a tour of the building, show you the various capital projects we're hoping to accomplish in the next year, and we'll go from there. So any questions, just stop us at any point. Mike and I have both been here close to 20 years, so stuff that might stand out to you guys has been here for 20 years for us. We're going to walk right by it. It's going to be nothing new or special. So we can start on the truck floor. If you want to go this way.
I'm assuming the arbor is Bob?
That's Bob Bush Senior, and then my brother-in-law is his son, who's the first assistant chief.
That's it.
So this is ladder 30, which the town was generous enough to replace last year when in service. It's the 2020 ladder truck.
And what height, is this the 100-foot truck?
This is the 100-foot. This is the biggest ladder in town. There is no pump on the truck. It is strictly a ladder truck. There's no hose. But you know, as town's building up, we're getting more and more, 3 to 4 story developments. The reach of this truck will be very beneficial to the fire service and to the community at large. This is engine 32. This is our the engine that's up for replacement, hopefully in the next year or two. It's a 2002 Marion. It's a frontline piece. The 2 engines are what we call our frontline pieces. Those are the 2 that go to the first call, or roll first to any call. This truck specializes in any kind of rescue incident. So it goes first to car accidents, elevator rescue, carbon monoxide, any kind of marine incident. This is the truck that rolls. Like I said, it's 2002. Prior to getting engine 31 in 2015, when in service in 16, this truck rolled first due for close to 15 years to every call. Every call on the road went to, this truck went to first. So we really beat it up with wear and tear. Being that it's a 20-year-old truck at this point, we're starting to see some mechanical breakdowns. We've had issues with all the warning lights on the truck just going out. We'd be on a call, parked on the side of the road or a drill, and the lights just stop working. It's not a good scenario when you're parked on the post road with no lights flashing. It's a danger to our members, and obviously something we need to address. It's a 20-year-old truck, so you're starting to have more and more mechanical maintenance every year with preventive maintenance schedule. It's a natural progression. As things get older, we're needing to do more and more work to keep it in service. Still a good truck. We generally like it. The truck we would be looking to replace this with would be a very similar truck. It would just be a lot newer, safer technology, more advanced technology. Like I was saying, engine 31 there. That's another engine, and then we have Rescue 33 behind us. This is the only truck we're looking to do anything with in the near term. Besides that, we're in really good shape with apparatus, so thanks to the town for that.
This rescue truck here is 1988.
Yes.
But we refurbished it and put on a bunch of new equipment about 7 years ago.
Yeah, so we do like to stretch the trucks as long as it makes sense. And this was it was a good truck. It still is a good truck, and So instead of replacing it with a, $400,000 or $500,000 piece of apparatus, we just chose to go a cheaper route. What was it, 200? Something like that. I think we spent about 200 grand refurbing it, and it'll last us.
Mechanically, it was fine.
Yeah, hopefully last us a lot longer.
What do you use this for primarily?
This rescue truck goes, we like to think of them as couples, right? So 32 and 33 generally run together, and 31 and 30 run together. So any kind of rescue incident this would go to as well. Any kind of vehicle accident, extrication, boat incident, carbon monoxide alarms, this truck would go. If we have a full-fledged structure fire, this truck will also go as a support unit because it has a lot of extra fans, generators, and spare SCBA self-contained breathing apparatus and air bottles. Lieutenant Murray's actually doing a truck check as we speak. I can hear him back there. So sorry, Paul. You can go out. Yeah. One of the other projects we've had on the budget for a long time on the capital side is replacing the truck floors. This building was built in, I think, 53, right? Mm-hmm. The floors are quite old. I don't know if they're original, but as far as I've talked to everyone around here recently, no one remembers replacing them besides painting them.
I think the newest, what we call the newest part of it is 50 years old.
Yeah.
But some of it is even older than that.
And so we're starting to get a lot of cracks, especially back here underneath the pickup truck. The floor's starting to heave. We noticed this past winter as the plow truck was coming in and out, the floor was starting to move. So we're looking to...
The drains need to be replaced.
Yeah, trains need to be replaced.
It doesn't drain well.
Is there a basement underneath this or no?
There's not. No, it's a slab. We are looking to replace it. The reason the money was approved last year. We haven't actually moved forward with the project yet, simply because in discussions with Jamie Stevenson and the selectmen last year, everyone was on board with waiting till we finished the natural gas conversion project. COVID's been an absolute nightmare for us as far as getting projects done, just dealing with vendors. We expected to do that in the fall. It's now looking like we're going to go to bid in the next week or three, hopefully.
This is for the conversion?
That's for the natural gas conversion. So part of that project is probably going to be taking up these floors or cutting these floors. There's no sense of putting down a new floor and then immediately cutting it. So we were all on the same page. It's going to be, a domino thing where we're going to do the natural gas conversion and then immediately do the floors.
The engineer who was working on designing the natural gas conversion also left. The project manager left in the middle of the job, so we almost had to start over. We were waiting for
the state to allow us to cut the post road.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Didn't you have a limitation that you couldn't do sidewalks here because they just did something out there?
They did. So there was something with the state where they wouldn't let us cut. They wouldn't let us cut a gas line in, and then when this building went up, we suddenly realized they told us, okay, we're going to cut your gas line. We're like, okay, sounds great. We thought we were going to be waiting longer. I don't know anything about the sidewalks.
But it just happened recently.
Yeah, no.
Within the last month or two.
No, I knew that you guys had a limitation on what you can do hooking up from there into here.
Correct.
From something that the state said.
Yeah, they paved and then they told us we couldn't do it.
That's what it was, yeah.
It was
All reports large drainage containing 30 inches.
Sorry. We're always listening to the radios around here. So 32, this is the truck we're looking to replace. Like I said, it'd be very similar to what we have here, just be a newer generation, safer piece of equipment.
Is it the same manufacturer, new manufacturer?
So obviously we would go out to bid for the truck. 3 of our 4 trucks are all made by Marion, which is out in Wisconsin. Heights has a few Marions up the hill as well. We have a very good relationship with them. That would be the leading candidate for sure. Simply because we work with them all the time now. They have a great track record as far as the maintenance that they do with us. When we have an emergency, call the owner, he gets someone here immediately. But obviously, it's something, a big project like this, it's got to go out to bid, and as long as it's a fair process, that would, I would say that most likely, yes, they would be the lead for sure.
On this truck right here, how close are you having it like the new truck that you would want fully spec'd out? So like, assuming that the RTM boat's approved in May, how fast are you ready to go?
It wouldn't be until the end of this year for sure.
In terms of actually signing a contract?
Correct.
And a calendar year or fiscal year? So December or
The
June?
earliest I would say would be the end of this fiscal year,
Okay, June.
this upcoming fiscal year.
So June.
Yes.
So next June?
Next June, 15 months from now.
All right.
We just started
formed
putting
the committee. Correct.
So you just started with the
Gotcha.
committee, so you gotta run the full specs.
Yeah,
See if
I mean-
anything needs to change, if the manufacturer changed
right.
anything.
But the way it'll work is, you know, we write the general spec, we know what we want for the most part. The spec process isn't gonna take that long. We'll meet with, typically, the way we've done every truck around here is we meet with a variety of vendors. We call them all in, give everyone a fair shot to give us their sales pitch. Meet with them, talk to them, see what they have, see the newest technology out there. And then we'll form the, you know, we'll put together the bid spec in-house. Like I said, the general consensus of the department, of the committee is we're gonna build a very similar truck to this. So it's not a very complicated, we're gonna need to redo everything. It's generally, we know what we want.
What are the typical specs that you give? Is it number of people can carry, gallons of water,
So
pumps?
the basics of it are, you know, we're looking to build an engine that has at least the capacity of X amount of gallons of water with seating for 6 firefighters, 5 with SCBA. It has to have X amount of feet of hose, X amount of feet of ladder, and then cubic storage space on the apparatus. The specs, when we're generally done with them, are very detailed, like 60, 70 pages long, specifying everything down to the type of the alloy of aluminum they're using and stuff like that, or the paint color, everything, the warranty, everything's very, very drawn out. But in general, I mean, a fire truck's a fire truck. It's not the most complicated thing in the world to build. It's generally, you know, we're looking to build a rescue pumper that has storage for, you know, all sorts of rescue equipment, jaws of life, cribbing, water rescue, you name it, storage for that, but still being able to fight a fire. So you need your 600 gallons of water, your hose, and you go from there.
Got it.
Sorry.
Yes, sir.
Trade-in or salvage value, I forgot what. This is 20 years old.
Correct. I wouldn't even want to guess at the value right now. I'm trying to remember what we got for old 30. There's 35,000 maybe. I think it was about 35,000 for the old ladder truck, which was a 94.
It's been a while since we replaced it, and
Yeah.
this replaced in 1971.
Yeah, 1972. Yeah. So, and which is the department owns. We still have that truck. It's the yellow truck you see in the parade every year. I would guess it's probably worth $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 somewhere in there. And generally, the way it's worked in the past is that money just goes back into the general fund for the town. They wouldn't take it on a trade, for sure. They usually works where you go through a truck broker, or you know, the guy that sells us the new truck might be willing to buy this back separately in a separate transaction. But
So then they refurbish and give it to another fire
yeah,
department?
he'll sell it to. So some of our other trucks have ended up, you know, way up in the Northeast in Vermont and stuff like that, to
Yeah,
smaller
I recall that
communities.
we had.
You know, it's not unheard of for trucks here to get shipped overseas, but that really wouldn't, you know, we're not looking to broker it ourselves for sure.
And one more question.
Yes, sir.
Hazmat, will this show at a hazmat?
Both of these would. You know, all of our firefighters that are interior qualified at the state level are operational level for hazardous materials, basically trying to prevent a situation from getting worse. So any kind of speedy dry booms, pads would be on 33 or 32. If it was a larger scale incident, Fairfield County Hazmat Team would come in. And the town contracts with them every year. It's a regional funded team.
So the state has their own.
It's Fairfield County separate, so it's subsidized by the state, subsidized by the towns. I don't know all the bylaws behind it for sure. I just know that if I say I need the hazmat team here, they'll be here.
Just because we were asking for each of the departments, your radios,
Yes.
you want to give a brief overview of where you are on them? Are you capable of communicating with Stanford, Norwalk,
So several of our radios, we just started, so part of the capital campaign, capital budget that we've put in for is replacing over all the radios over a 4 to 5 year schedule. The idea being, one, putting a radio in every riding position in the trucks. Every firefighter on the scene should have a radio for safety. You get separated from crew, you get trapped in the building, you need to be able to call on the radio that you need help. So part of the plan is, part of the objectives there is to establish a radio in every seat. The other half of it is bring us up to date with newer radios, which does give us capabilities to talk to different frequencies, other towns. Our current portables that most of the officers have really are town only. They're set up to talk to, I think, Fairfield Dispatch and possibly Westport now. But myself and the 2 other chiefs have the ability to talk to many more than that on the new APX radios. They're nice. They have a lot more capabilities. They are much more expensive. There's nothing in the fire service that's cheap. As soon as they put fire or rescue on it, they just, it's crazy what they can get for it.
Next question, since I see him here, and I don't know the technical terms since that's not my
Sure.
job. Well above my pay grade. Where do you guys stand in the being able to egress out on the emergency?
Bail kits?
Bailout
kits,
kits?
yeah.
So all of our interior firefighters have bailout kits.
Okay.
It's part of the budget, it's part of the operating budget, and it's been a line item in the capital budget previously that our interior members have bailout kits. They go through annual requalification where they have to jump out a window and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But our interior members carry them.
I do have a really silly question.
Okay.
So this has, and I noticed the other one has a fire apparatus license plate. This one has a municipal license.
You're very observant. So the difference there is the town owns the fire trucks. The fire department owns the pickup trucks. So we can't register with a municipal plate. We have to register with essentially a commercial plate. So that's the difference. So the chief's cars, the pickup trucks, the utility, we own those. The Monroe Fire Department Incorporated owns those, just like the building.
Gotcha.
You're the first person that's ever asked me that question. That was pretty good.
How many volunteer members in the fire department?
So our active role is, it's a, I don't want to say seasonal, but being a volunteer organization, anywhere from 35 to 50 at any given time. Last year when I went through the budget process, we had 40 interior qualified members. So, right now I'm very comfortable with where we are as a membership. Having plenty of people to show up and answer the call. We're very fortunate, I think, in the town of Darien. I think we do have a very strong volunteer setup here where, we're not like a lot of other towns and other parts of the country that are struggling for manpower. We're really doing pretty well. Doesn't mean I don't want more. I'll always take more members, more good members. But 40 is a good average. That's what we're shooting for. At least I am as chief.
We've had a good influx of younger members the last few years, and we have a lot of college members that, that's the seasonality of it. They, come and go.
Any high school kids?
Oh yeah, a bunch of them. We have, without counting, probably 6 or 7 right now. State law, you're not allowed to do really any type of interior firefighting or anything above 6 feet. There's a whole bunch of restrictions on what anyone under the age of 18 can do. So our junior members really come on and they learn how to be support personnel, operate on the outside of the building, exterior member, and then as soon as they turn 18, we generally try and send them off to get state certified as a firefighter. But yeah, we've been very lucky with high school members that have rolled into college and come back and been very involved. And yeah, the college kids come home in the summertime, that number, we go from 15 guys at drill on Friday night to 25, and it's almost overwhelming. It's good. It's a good problem.
Well, I'll say on behalf of the town, the whole community, we're very fortunate to have you all here in Monroe Heights and Darien, to have that many, have over 150, I think I count, of volunteer fire departments, firemen. We're very fortunate.
And
so.
women.
I appreciate that.
And women.
It's great. We've got a few women in here now, so I appreciate that. Thank you. It means a lot. We're definitely proud to do it. It's a fun thing we do here, but it's a tremendous way to give back to the community, so.
And
yeah,
I
it's great.
did hear you mention that Northern Fire Inc. owns this building,
That's
right?
correct.
And so you own the building and the land around it?
Correct.
Okay.
All the fire departments are independently owned. If you want to go upstairs, we can show you
that'd be great. See the bunk room?
the bunk room, and I'll
Yeah.
talk about it real quick here because this is a much larger space than where we're going. We have for years lacked a space at our open for our members to sleep, especially during storms. We try and at least have at least one crew staffed here for overnights during storms, blizzards, hurricanes. Usually it's a lot more than that, but at least one crew being here to get out quick is great. We've never had an actual place to sleep before, besides couches. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've actually slept in the back of like on the hose bed of the truck up there. It's pretty. If you find the right spot in between the couplings, it's pretty comfortable.
You better not roll around.
Yeah, well, no, you're pretty locked in up there. It's pretty safe. But anyway, so we put in for a bunk room and office space this year, and the idea was twofold. One, provide a tremendous asset to the community by allowing us to have people here in the middle of the night during a storm, help us get out faster, not have to worry about driving down here in 2 feet of snow, that kind of thing. The second part of it is converting that space to actual like office space. We have a lot of people, especially now during COVID, post-COVID, that are working from home. And a lot of our guys aren't going back to work. They're not going back to the city as much, and we think it would be, actually I know it would be very beneficial to have an actual designated office space here where guys can work from. We were talking about it last night, and 3 of the 4 guys I was sitting with were like, oh yeah, I'd work there all the time, I gotta get out of my house. Like, so we're thinking about it as and that's twofold. One, we have existing members stay here all the time, or be here more often for daytime calls, but also thinking it might be a good recruiting tool for, those, the best age group to recruit from for us generally is the 30s to 40s, 50s, work from home, live in town. Those are the ones you really like because they're always around and they can do everything once you train them to a certain level. And we're hoping that some of those guys that might not be able to volunteer because they got to work, they always got to be home working. Well, maybe they can come here and work, and maybe it'll bring a couple extra people on board. But we'll go upstairs. It's a space that's it's been a small meeting room. It's really become nothing but a storage closet. But the idea is we're going to take a big space, cut it in half, put in a couple desks and bunks on one side, desks and bunk on the other side. We'll have the ability to have ladies and men, separation there, 2 means of egress, so it won't be a code issue. So we're hoping to get that done this year. So we'll go up the back staircase over here. Do we have time to go up?
Yeah, we got
Okay.
it. Is this
You aren't
This is the
filming
room.
it, will you?
Which, as you can see, it's a good-sized space, but we don't utilize it for anything at fire very much. It's really become a storage cabinet. We redid the floors out here last year, and so all the display cases that had all our records and stuff and a lot of pictures got moved in here. Being that it's a volunteer organization, some projects get pushed to the back burner occasionally, and redecorating out of here hasn't happened yet, so it's all sitting in here still. But the idea would be we'd be building a wall down the middle here to divide the room in half, and we'd have 2 separate office/bunk rooms.
How many beds in each side?
I want to put at least 3 sets of bunk beds, so 2 on one side, 4 on the other probably. And that's probably where we'd start, and then ideally, 2 workstations on either side.
I take it you have shower and nothing.
We do, so we just, the department just spent some money, redid the downstairs bathroom, redid the shower stall, with the hopes of, more people spending more time here and having the ability to stay overnight. So we do have shower. Upstairs we have ladies and men's bathroom, we have a handicap bathroom, and then the same, we have, the unisex bathroom downstairs, so plenty of.
Do you have an elevator in here?
We do, on the other side of the building. You mentioned the boat before.
Yeah.
The department actually just I don't know how much is known publicly yet, but the department actually just committed to buying a new boat. We're buying a boat ourselves again, which is a huge investment and in the way we see it, a great kickback to the town, so.
Part of the reason why we joked about the police boat is that I know they had some new technology that allowed you to look off to the side when they were doing rescue, especially at
Side scan sonar?
night. Yeah. Do you guys get that, or is that?
It's an option to buy. Typically, that's, since the police do, and I don't want to speak for the police at all. We have a great relationship with
got it
them,
as
but
a-
I'm not, I don't.
That
I'm
was a
not-
donation, I'll tell you
I'm
that.
not an expert on what they do or how they do it, but our understanding is side scan sonar is typically a diving operation thing. The police have the dive team in town.
Yeah,
We don't have the dive capability. So that's, I believe, why they have that technology.
Interesting enough, within 3 months of putting it in, they actually used it to.
Yeah, oh, sure.
So,
Yeah, I mean, we've been out there a few times with them, so it's great.
Is that where you keep the boat in the same?
No, our boat's docked at, down on the Ziegler property. The Ziegler family, they're not the Ziegler family, there's more that's kind of been, offshoots of it, but the family's always been great to us. They give us, dock access 365 days a year. We have a private dock space there. It's a quick response from the firehouse here. It's right down Rings End Road, right through their property. So, we, the town, we've been very fortunate that they give us that dock space. So hopefully it stays with us for a long, long time.
Oh, the beach privileges and the beach access are pretty nice too.
I can't speak to that, but I could work on them for that, I guess. But I don't want to be greedy. I'm very thankful for what we get.
I'm assuming your fire rescue, that you're frequently working in conjunction with either Stanford or Norwalk in their operations.
On the water, or
on the water.
Yes. So we operate in junction with all the local entities. So on the water, the rule in the water is if you hear something and you can assist, you go. So generally, we have a good response locally here from Stanford, Norwalk, Greenwich, Westport, ourselves, Darien Police. When there's an incident on the water, everything operates under the Coast Guard umbrella. When Coast Guard gets there, they generally take over. We didn't do it last year because of COVID again, but we go through U.S. Coast Guard search and rescue recertification training every year. Our skippers for the boat are all search and rescue certified through the Coast Guard. So we actually, me and a couple of the officers last night were talking about how we've already reached out and hopefully get a couple of dates on the schedule this summer to everyone to get recertified again. So on the water, everyone works together. That's just the way it is. Any questions about this room? Nope. Or any questions at all? I like to talk a lot. My guys get mad at me all the time because I don't stop talking.
Brendan, I think this was a good summary. I appreciate some of the background on the truck and some of the other equipment that you guys are doing. And I think it's as part of all of us approving the budget, it's good to kind of see and touch and.
Absolutely, I agree. You guys are always welcome back anytime you have questions. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I heard, I live in the neighborhood here.
Okay.
That this could be a shelter, like if there was a flood or something like that. Is that true, or
It's not technically
not
a
officially?
shelter from what I understand, simply because of the fact that our kitchen is not correct me if I'm wrong, a certified commercial kitchen. That being said, in an actual emergency, we'd be happy to have people. We've had people come here. So yes, you live here in the community. The last big floods on Renshaw Road, we had people walk up here. We are a safe place. We don't turn anyone away.
I had flooding in my
promise.
basement.
Yeah, okay.
But there is one requirement, you have to be able to be a good ping pong player.
Yeah. You can see the kids are always here playing ping pong.
Well, that's good to know. I think Doug Lawrence told us.
Yes, so this is our meeting room, this is where we do training, this is where we have our classroom training and stuff. The shuffleboard hasn't been used in 100 years, but it's a staple of this place, so it's still there. But the ping pong table is getting quite a workout these days. We can go back down, we can go out the other way or go back down the same way, whatever we do.
Do you have a generator?
Yes, and actually, part of the natural gas conversion is replacing that generator.
There's a picture of my father too. He's not cheap.
Come on now. All I can eat is promises. When you go up to the heights, you tell them I gave you a much better tour than they did. Yeah, that's one of the history cabinets.
Yeah. it's
There's some
pretty
really
cool.
cool old World War II stuff.
I
There's
saw
some
World War
members.
II here, yeah. Where's the old one?
In the back garage, I can show you that.
Show that right away.
When we train on Friday night and Sunday morning generally, especially when church gets out across the street, there are a lot of young families that walk over and they're standing on the front ramp looking in.
All right.
Thanks.
You want to kick us off, or?
Sure, we're at the Norton Heights Fire Department here with Zach McEwen, the fire chief. And he's going to give us an overview of the various sort of larger items that are on their capital budget, as well as give an overview of Engine 23, which is one of the pieces of equipment that's up for replacement in this year's cycle.
Absolutely. So we'll just walk around the firehouse, and as we get to certain parts of the firehouse, we'll discuss different projects. So where we all are meeting right now is in our meeting hall. This is where we have our monthly meetings, training events. We have a projector in here, that way we can hold classes as well. To the left of me, far left door would be our board of directors room. That's where they meet. And then on the other side, we have our TV room as well as our bunk room. So for storms or for our weekend on call shifts, members spend quite some time either in the bunk room or the TV room. So we'll just take a walk through. Let's go through the kitchen. We'll go outside. Not introduced yet was our treasurer, Maria Bassett. She's been working on the budget for longer than I have. So, also here is Assistant Chief Justin Plank, Board of Director Chris Schneider, and so we'll take it from there. So we'll walk through our kitchen. We're going to go outside to look at the brick and mortar, as that's one of the capital items proposed.
And I heard the last name again.
Just take a look. So just to give everybody that might be watching reference where we are, we're an upside down firehouse. Our trucks are upstairs, and everything else business side is downstairs. So Norton Avenue will be up top here. Part of our 6-year plan that we've discussed in the past is the need of this wall to be fixed, repaired, possibly replaced due to its condition. As you can see, there's a lot of erosion that goes on in this part of the area. Maria Bassett, our treasurer, she's going to discuss the brick and mortar project that we have for the upcoming budget.
So the long and short of it, you guys can see the damage in the brick. You can kind of see what I call our duct tape repairs that we've done over the years that have now also given way. You can see a lot of the bricks are actually sliced in half. These damages are throughout, especially this white brick and a lot of our original brick. The damage is throughout most of this building. Over time, this will create water damage on the inside, which is why we want to nip this in the bud now, before any serious damage now happens on the interior and we have to replace walls and all that, insulation and all that. So the process of doing that, some of this work, not all of the cement has to get replaced. The ones that have to get replaced, you can see, are the ones that have the split through it. They have to get a lift, they have to get the materials and all that. To do all 4 sides would be the most efficient and most And we would do, I think, I forgot who I was just speaking to about this, but there is a sealant that we can put on that will protect it. I think it will give us, I don't know, I think you said like 10 years before then they can come back and do maintenance and stuff like that, but we're kind of beyond the point of just general maintenance. We have to do full.
Yeah. So I think
Full
what
repair.
the Board of Selectmen had originally put 13,000 into the budget to, I guess, do one side, if you will, and then as part of the $6.4 million that we got through the ARPA grant,
Yeah.
they decided, because I think Kate and you all thought there'd be some economies of scale if they're doing it all at once.
Right.
And so now I think there's approximately like 52 or 53 in to get it all done.
Okay.
And effectively it advanced stuff from what would have otherwise have been in fiscal 24, fiscal 25, and fiscal 26, which kind of fits with what we're trying to do with the ARPA grant itself, is we have $6.4 million, and some of these projects that we would normally see over the next couple of years, advance them, get them done today, and sort of spread a little bit of savings up for the taxpayers over the next few years.
It would just, it would be more efficient.
Yeah.
Right? They'd only have to rent the equipment once instead of 4 different times. So,
And that fits with what we're trying to do. Can we do things where we're doing more at once and saving a little bit of money over the long term?
right.
A lot of them, not really.
Yeah.
Any questions on the brick and mortar repair?
So it's not just here, it's all around?
Actually,
around,
this is
yeah.
the best side. This is the south side. If you go to the north side, it's actually much more deteriorated than this
Yeah.
side.
Yeah. Where this one too.
Needs to be done on that wall, right?
So this side is the worst compared to the other. As you can see, with the way the building was built, all of this was just kind of filled in, just parking spaces up top. But over time, this is going to continue to sink. As you can see, by the paving up there, the worry would be that it all at once would come down. That was taken.
So they're just going to build a retaining wall and structurally and engineer it to.
Engineered wall, just like we have over here, carry it across. Really get a permanent solution in there.
What about the other side?
So the other side, which we could actually walk around, at some point, it's not sinking and eroding as much as this side. We can go see that as well. I by no means an engineer.
So it was good.
No, me either, are just the obvious questions.
Absolutely. This side is this side is worse.
You guys are gonna do, you're gonna have to engineer, design it. You know, while nobody likes to spend money, it might be cheaper to do both sides.
Yeah.
You guys don't own this building, right?
So we own the building and the property. We own from the third baseline to the Monroe Avenue side.
So there's no risk of losing the building eventually? Because somebody, I was under the impression you guys, that the town didn't own the building.
The town does not own the building.
But
Monroe
the
Heights
fire
Fire Department
company
Incorporated,
But
the nonprofit 501c3 owns it.
Yeah.
Okay. I think all three are set up that way, right?
But it is actually in our bylaws that if we ever cease to exist at the firehouse, we would give this to the town.
Okay.
So it would be handed over.
And so, Chris, you guys, if you guys want to remind everybody that every Christmas, this is where you provide the.
Yeah.
You can certainly go ahead and do that. Yes.
So, like Mr. Palin was just saying, this is where we hold our biggest fundraiser of the year. That is our tree sale. That's some of the supplies that you see on this side. The shed right here is our cashier stand. Effectively, that takes up the majority of this part of the market. Now, what we were just discussing about the wall eroding on the other side, this side of the building has more of an engineered wall to it. It carries further across, so we don't see it eroding as much. It's all covered. It's already been patched. I don't know if it's the bigger blocks, as you can see over here. That's all original. I don't know when this part was done over here, but that's similar to what needs to be done on the other side. To stop that.
When you get around to having someone evaluate the other side, you'll have to at least evaluate this side. Even
Oh,
if-
absolutely, yeah. So with that, the ramp from the road to the building, that has been redone before, and engineers do come in from time to time to check our floor. Since all the weight of the trucks and all that, the concrete slab, evaluating that part of the building. And they've done patches before.
Yeah, we've had over the last 20 years, we have had engineers coming in looking at the structural integrity of the building, and they would sink basically little pilot holes into this concrete, and we're solid. The building is solid. It's just, again, the fear of water starting to get in. And here you can see a lot of the bricks much looser, much more broken up than on the other side.
This is definitely the worst.
You can see the gaps as well.
Yeah.
By the way, I'd like you to notice this beautiful hot patch right here. This is the natural gas line that you guys put in. So thank you very much for that.
So, talking about heat, attic insulation is actually another one of those capital items, and we're outside, so it's nice and cold. So we'll talk about it now. We abated the asbestos in the attic, and with that, all of our insulation went with it because it was all affected by asbestos. So that's one of the items that you'll see in there, and if there's any questions, maybe we could touch on that, once we get upstairs. All right. Yeah, we'll cut through. It's truly become so beneficial to our operation. Guys that work shift work that might be working overnight, that might live a little bit further away, they'll stay here during the day and get the rest before they go in for their night shift, or they'll be here for storms. These 2 rooms are really so beneficial to just having people here if there was an emergency and having people on standby for storms.
We used to be these green cots.
Yeah, we still have a green cots. Yeah, we only have so many beds, so that's another thing. We take over the meeting hall with cots if we have more people than beds.
During Hurricane Sandy, I remember when we were here sleeping on those,
And that's what we had here in high school for the poor people who had these.
They're actually the same cots because if needed, we could be a shelter. We have the generator, we have the staffing for the town, working with the emergency management if we're ever needed. That last big rainstorm we got, which was late last year, we saw a lot of flooding on West Avenue, as you might have heard in the other meetings through town and in other areas as well. We almost opened up as a shelter, and thankfully they sought housing elsewhere. So.
These regular community people, you mean citizens?
Citizens, yes. Yep. Since you're right by the door, I'll have you take everybody up the stairs now.
Sure. There's a lot of history in this place. That number 5 right there is from when guys, you were probably around as a kid back then, but Rings End Lumber almost burnt out of the ground. And we were able to, all 3 departments stop the fire in Building 5. And Building 5 was a total loss. But you can imagine the building filled with wood. I mean, the fire load was incredible, and it was real concern. And they actually, at the time, laid supply line across the railroad tracks, shut down the northeast corridor. And the 3 fire departments, this was back in the 80s, right?
There was,
Chief, you were there, right?
Yeah. I actually drove the first 2 trucks, so. That was interesting. When you get Channel 7 helicopter above you, when you shut down Metro North, we laid a line from Ledge Road through the back, and it was a good stop. All 3 departments worked really well together, and definitely a fire load. It was Shed 5 was where all the paint was too, so we had a big environmental impact with runoff down onto the Metro North tracks. It could have been a lot worse, but to basically still have the lumberyard standing after that was a great stop. There was just it was dicey for a while at the beginning, and it ended up, it was the storefront you see now that you go in, that was right in between there, so that pretty much was saved. If not, Rings End would look a lot different than it does now. So.
Wow.
Anyway, yeah, let's keep going. Sorry.
Go ahead upstairs now.
That's a good fact to know.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Significant amount of doesn't
Yeah. So I think we have everybody, where we are right now is we're by our workbench area. We do saw maintenance in-house. Most of our maintenance is done in-house by our fleet guys, which is past G Plank. His son's also a diesel mechanic, and they do a lot of our repairs.
And do you do that here? You ever use
The majority of it gets done in-house. If not, if we have to lift the truck down back, since the height is an issue at some of the trucks. This epoxy floor was redone in the past, so somebody asked before when the floor was redone. It was something like that.
It was about 6 years ago, yeah.
It could be closer to 10, I believe.
It's about 8 to 10 years.
So behind Chris Schneider is a cascade machine. That's where we fill the bottles. So for our self-contained cutting apparatus, and I believe that was a capital project in the past.
But not every fire department has that, do they?
Now we do. You are right though. One used to have a gear washer, one used to have the cascade machine, and now there's such a need for this to be able to fill bottles efficiently and quickly in-house that, we have them. And we do share if, somebody needs help filling some more, and it depends on the volume of how much is going on. And then behind Assistant Chief Plank is our gear dryer. So we do have a gear washing machine. Cancerous, agents in fighting fires and disease are prevalent. So it's something we take very seriously.
I take this as a training?
Yes, so this was actually donated by one of our members, and his family purchased this for us. So this is a door prop. This is to practice forcible entry. It's a great prop. You could practice inward swinging door, outward swinging doors. So that's what that is, and that's what we're looking at.
We recently had a fire down on West Avenue in the kitchen where the residents had left, and there was a fire over the stove, and when we arrived on scene, we had some newer members who had been training on this door and training on this door. They just went in and boom, 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 popped the front door open, and they flew right in, and they were able to contain the fire into the kitchen. So you don't think about it much, but the ability to very quickly enter a residence when you have to, it's a critical piece of training, and it's just a very specific need, but the need is critical, so you have to have it down. And every door is a little bit different, so we add extra pieces of wood, we try different techniques, but there are about 60 different ways to open up a door.
Yes.
We usually check that first. Try before you pry is our rule, so yeah.
It is right behind the door.
The way the cars
It's right behind there. It's right behind the diesel tank there. It's diesel. Diesel. Yeah. And that's why we have that big tank there as well. It's we're out of power for a few days.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Assistant Chief Plank, would you care to do the honors for going over the trucks and showing them some of our equipment?
Yeah, no, we can definitely do that. So,
replacements and such.
Here we have truck 20. This is our ladder truck. It's an engine that's combined. This is the truck that's currently being built. It's on a 1988 Mack chassis. The truck is in production right now, the replacement. So this is what we take to any of our structural calls. So this is what will be first to a house fire. If your fire alarm goes off, this will be the first one there. We have a 75-foot aerial, and then a large complement of ground ladders, ventilation equipment, SCBAs, search equipment. So really this is a jack of all of our structural trade, and then every truck kind of has its own purpose. Most of our trucks here are dual purpose. It helps us be able to bring more equipment. So behind you, this is our tanker. It carries 2,000 gallons of water. It can also bring 5 firefighters to the scene. We carry ladders, ground ladders. So we're able to assist people out of windows, get up to the roof. We can also stretch hose off this truck and attack the fire. It's for us to carry firefighters on a tanker is rare. Most tankers are only there to carry water, but we bring a crew with us. And it helps getting more guys out on scene quickly. So we move down. This is engine 23. This is a 1989 Mack. This is the truck that's due that's on the schedule and that we requested to be replaced this year. This serves as the secondary truck to the ladder truck. So this will go behind the fire last week. This was the second truck there over in Darien's district. It laid the supply line out from the hydrant and supplied the first engine there, along with bringing 6 firefighters. It's been a really good truck to us over the years. We've had we had the discussion last year with truck 20. With it being 33 years old, it's getting tougher to find parts, tougher to maintain, and then the safety features is one of the biggest things for us. Is the new trucks, airbags, anti-lock brakes. The new chassis bring a lot to us, and we want to keep our people as safe as possible, and and have the most reliable equipment that we can. Anything else?
Chief?
Yes.
With regard to that truck, where are you in terms of having a committee specking it out, and when would you expect to have all those details laid out to be prepared to move forward with actually submitting a contract?
So that's a really great question. Thanks for asking. So we're internally set up for a committee, and they will meet. They'll sit down. While that committee is meeting, I will go to the town for the necessary requests through them. Ideally, come July, August, have everything submitted, go out to bid at that point, and really move forward as quickly as we can.
So July of August of 23, so that's technically next.
July of 2022.
Okay.
It's like 3 or 4 months.
So
In a few months,
as soon as
we'll have
possible.
our
Like 3
specifications.
or 4 months, not next fiscal year.
Correct.
And it'll be full specifications, like full 50, 60 pages.
Ready to go out to
Yep.
bid.
Got it.
And likely it'll be
Be more than that.
similar size, similar features, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so with the new truck that we're designing, the committee's really focused on building a truck that meets Norotan Heights' and the town's needs. With these new building projects going in, the need for us to carry more and more hose is growing. Heights Road is 600 feet across, and we need to be able to carry some different specialized equipment and different hose loads that our current truck can't, it's not set up to carry. So we're building, we're speccing out this truck to be able to meet the requirements of the growing size of the buildings in town, to be able to make those long hose stretches and, carry, more equipment that we're gonna need inside of those buildings.
And I may have missed it, this one's under, the new one for this is under construction currently, right?
This truck is being built.
Yeah, when would you expect delivery?
16 to 18 months from now.
And will that be another 75 footer or 100 footer?
Yeah, so great question. We're going to keep to the 75-foot, the way the truck was spec'd. It's shorter in length. It's going to be more maneuverable. As you already know, part of our northern district is very tight. To have a ladder truck that can get into the driveway, that can pump, such as this truck can, is ideal for our district. Looking at Heights Road, having, a tight truck like this that's shorter overall length than, say, Norotan's truck, who you guys just looked at down the street, it's so important for us. That way we can get in and out of places and have every tool that we need right there on scene.
And with having 3 ladder trucks in town, it allows each one to kind of have their own job. So this one we focus on getting it into really small spaces where Norotan with the 100 feet can, with a bigger truck, they can reach from a little bit further. So everyone serves a different purpose, and we all work together. And anytime there's any call of any sort of significance, we're all there and we're all working together.
This one's differentiated because the other ladder trucks don't carry water, right?
Yeah, we can go up front.
You're up front here. So as you can see, both trucks look very familiar. That's something we've been trying to strive for, is to keep our fleet as uniform as possible. It makes it, easier for training. When we have guys coming from their houses at 3 o'clock in the morning, it's when you hop in the truck, when all the buttons and all the switches are in the same spot, it makes it a lot safer. And you're not thinking about it. It's second nature. And it also helps with our maintenance. We're able to stock some of the parts, filters and that kind of stuff. And it just keeps us down on cost and in training. It's really helpful for training. So, the new ladder truck will look just like that truck. Then we'll continue on to the newest truck in the building right now, which is a 2018. And that's our squad. It's our rescue pumper. Oh, we can talk about it quick. So, the chief just reminded me, in one of our capital requests is a radiator for 1923. You know, over the 33 years that it's been on the road, parts go out. You know, the radiators are a relatively large repair project, and that's why we put in, I believe it was $5,000. And that's the quote that we got from an outside vendor.
Now, is that something, do you not think 23 can make it until a replacement, or is it just?
So that's a good question. I don't know if anybody's tried to buy a car recently, if you could find one. Supply chain issues for fire trucks, fire apparatus parts are no different than what we're seeing in other markets, you know, just like passenger vehicles. So when I say 16, 18 months for the new ladder truck, I mean, the money's been appropriated for so long already. That's a long time. Back when past Chief Plank was, you know, chief of the department, replacing a truck was what? It was a year from the time.
Sometimes even less.
Even less. Now we're looking at close to 2 years. So who's to say that that engine, if we don't do the work, will not, you know, work for us if we ever need it. You know, that's why getting the radiator put in, it needs to be done. So, you know, we got to keep that truck on the road until the new one's here, new one's in service. So.
Zach, in terms of the overall, the membership here, how many volunteer firefighters do you have that are, you know, somewhat active in your own house?
So that's a great question. So we have non-line members and line members. Our line members are those that are fire personnel. We have 10 line officers. We have, actually, I knew you were going to ask, so I jotted some numbers down. So 55 line personnel, which I'm extremely proud of being the chief of the department. We have 10 of those are line officers consisting of chiefs, assistant chiefs, lower officers from there. We have 31 firefighters and 14 probationary members. And like I said before, 10 non-line members. Those are our support personnel. Those are the people that aren't running out of their houses to go fight fires, but they're back here supporting us in ways that we need it. So, yeah, and actually, one of the biggest ones is actually our treasurer. I could not do her job. She is awesome at it. So.
And do you have any student, like high school student members as well?
Yeah, so the majority of those 14 probationary members, the majority of them are under 18 years old that we will seek to send to, you know, certification classes such as Firefighter 1 to make them interior rated.
Chief, how old is the rescue one here?
So the rescue's in 1989. We recently, I think it was 2 years ago, we did a major refurb to the truck. So went through it mechanically, upgraded some of the lighting, upgraded some of the extrication tools on it. So we have a full set of battery-powered rescue tools on here as well, extrication tools. That gives us the ability that, you know, if a car is off the road, with our corded tools, we can only go 100 feet off the truck. So with those battery tools, we could go further than that. And sometimes you can't get within 100 feet. So that was one of the big purchases with the refurb, as well as reworking inside of the box to allow us to have more storage. But this truck carries all of our specialized, you know, special rescue equipment. So our ropes to do either high or low angle rescue. We have our cold water equipment on here. We have stabilization equipment. We can lift anything from, you know, a pair of shoes on the ground to a train. You know, the highway is one of our biggest focuses on responses with this truck. We have a Paratech rescue system, strut system. So if a car drives underneath the tractor trailer, we have the ability to lift the back of the tractor trailer off of the car and get the people out of the car. So we carry a lot of equipment on here that isn't used, you know, every day, but when you need it, you really need it. You know, and that Paratech equipment that was bought probably 5-ish years ago, we do a lot of training on, and it's a low frequency, high acuity situation. So, you know, we've had to use it before, and I'm sure that we'll have to use it again. That's why we keep training on it.
Dispatch 42.
To go off the highway, so this is our, you know, specialty truck. This follows Squad 21 onto the highway. So this is set up as a combination between a pumper and a rescue. So we carry a lot of the equipment that we need for any of our day-to-day operations on I-95, as well as you know, calls in town. So anything, this truck is equipped to handle calls from, you know, your stove is on fire all the way to you've rolled your car and you're trapped inside. So we have the ability to carry 6 firefighters. We have our extrication equipment on this as well as on 25. Okay, water hose. So this truck does a little bit of everything. This is what goes up to I-95 first. So that's this truck's primary responsibility is our I-95 responses and then our motor vehicle accident responses throughout the town. Just to jump in here, one of our capital projects is for Aed Replacements. This is something that not only here we see is necessary on every scene, on every piece of apparatus, but cardiac arrest is one of the leading killers of firemen, whether career, volunteer. Having early intervention to that is of uppermost importance. Unfortunately, our older AEDs, they're aging out. They're no longer supported by our vendor or other vendors. The options that we've explored is to try to keep them, but like most things, at some point you just can't even get parts for them. So that's another one of our projects. Any questions on the AED?
Will you keep one AED at each vehicle, or?
That is the intent and is first primary response. Going up to the highway, if I get there first in the command vehicle and there's a party in cardiac arrest, that patient needs to be cared for immediately. And EMS could be minutes behind us before we secure the highway for them to get up there. So
And I think police carry them each.
Yeah, so each police car has
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
But Darien Police doesn't necessarily respond up onto I-95 for all the calls. State Police handles the highway. So we could, and EMS won't go up until we've gone up and secured the scene. So once we get up there, we let them know over the radio, that it's clear for them to come up. So that's why we carry equipment on the trucks that we can, at least get started.
Jim, is that an ARPA thing, or is it part of the budget?
No, that'll be part of the budget, the AED is.
Yeah.
The only piece that I think that's being moved to ARPA is some of the foundation work.
I saw that, yeah.
And that's primarily to accelerate the all 3 walls.
4 sides.
Four sides.
So we can move down this way. We'll just open up some of the compartment doors. That way you guys can take a look inside. One of the biggest things that stands out as the chief for me when we talk about, replacing older apparatus is the safety features, as he touched on before. This truck has your 3-point, seat belt, whereas the older trucks have the lap belt. So I'm of a generation where we've always had the 3, but, it's time to get with the times. And yeah, to go along with safety features, roll protection, so if the truck senses that it's going on too much of an angle, it'll actually cut power down. Anti-lock brakes, which like in your car, when you brake in the snow and you feel that rapid stopping, the new trucks have that. And then the ability to get out of the truck on either side is one of our biggest things, especially on the 95, because we'll pull the truck up and walk the road, and we position the truck in a manner that if it were to get hit, whatever's hitting it goes off of it, So if members are getting out in the traffic side, it makes it dangerous. And that's, the older trucks have the engine in between the 2 sides, so the ability to walk through, really helps us out there. So like I was explaining, this truck does a little bit of everything. So this is some of our lifting equipment, stabilization equipment. So what that you see there, that's called cribbing. We use that to stabilize a vehicle before performing extrication. We also have some lifting equipment here. A couple of jacks, primary use for lifting trucks up. That's what these are really good for. We have one of these, it's a max force airbag. It goes up 31 inches. That gives us the ability to do a rapid lift of a vehicle. Say a pedestrian with stroke or a biker's underneath it. That's one of the first things that we'll go to and get a quick lift.
You can actually move a Metro North rail car with that thing.
Wow. Yeah. So if we have somebody in between the platform and the train, we have some of the equipment to do it on here, but on the rescue truck we have these really big airbags. They can You put them on either side of the person, you could push the whole train about 2 feet, and it'll roll, on the tracks, and we can, remove anyone that's stuck. And having the train station right there, and so we have a lot of specialized equipment that, we've been fortunate enough to be funded to get.
Can you do, because we were talking about it before, especially when you look at the old engine that you're replacing, just look at the difference in the seats that are here, because I remember that was a big thing when you were talking about replacing that some of the older seats that are carrying the firemen about this big, and they don't even have seat belts, because when these things were built, seat belts weren't around. So versus what they now have for what they're gearing in the seats that are carrying it. So it's going to be a little bit bigger, but it's a heck of a lot safer for the firemen.
Yeah, and then what's great about the new truck is if somebody doesn't have their seatbelt on, there's a light flashing in the cab, an alarm going off, and it's essentially too annoying to even drive. And that's the whole idea of it. Like your car dings at you for the seatbelt, this one dings at you, but a lot more aggressively. And everyone is, since we got this truck, everyone is very good about. First thing is putting your seatbelt on. And with the airbags, the seatbelt reminders, everyone's feeling a lot safer. Going to calls and advanced braking. The new trucks really give us that peace of mind that we're going to send everybody home at least getting there, and then the equipment that we're getting and the SCBAs that we're replacing have new technology in them. That allow us to track where guys are in the fire. And we could talk about that. We actually have a demo of the SCBA that we're going to be buying that we actually just ordered. So we could look at it and go over a few of the features on it. Yeah, so some of the equipment here, this is this is the jaws of life compartment, if you will. A couple of different saws. Looks like we just have some drills here, but they're all for different purposes. This we could cut your windshield since it's laminated glass. Little shear that allows us to cut your windshield out very rapidly. And then we have our cutters. Cut any pillar on a car. Pretty much cut anything on the car. Our spreader spreads spreads out pieces on the car. And here we have, it's a combination of the two. We call it the Combi Tool. That's the only battery tool that's on this truck. And that's used really that, you can get it started, or if you have to extricate from both sides of a car, you can at least start working on both sides before another truck gets there.
Justin, I'll grab one of the older packs, and you can just go back and talk about the standards and why we have to replace for the CBA, if you want to go over that. That way we can, because we do have to go to the tower.
Okay.
I love it.
Have everything?
All right, so as we've had in our 5-year plan is SCBA replacement. So this is the air pack that we're currently wearing. This standard came out in 2007. So it's a lot more advanced than the packs that we had before these, but every revision they keep getting newer and newer. So currently we're on the 2008 edition, or 2018 edition, which is what you see here. So some of the main differences is they've redesigned the display that we can see how much air we have, the console. They've changed the sound of the pass alarm, which basically it goes off if a firefighter is standing still for too long. So that helps us find them.
Fire's been put out in the fireplace for years of service.
There's a low air feature on these air packs that on the 2007 packs, it would go off when you had a quarter of a tank left. So 1/4 of your air, you get, it's a audible and visual alarm that goes off. NFPA has since changed the standard. Now it goes off at 33% when you have 33% remaining. So, you know, a third to get in, a third to work, and then a third to make sure that you're getting out. But when that alarm's going off, you should really already be making your way out. So that's kind of your extra safety. They've changed where some of the parts are on the air packs to make them a little bit safer for us. You know, there's not a big block hanging off the side anymore. There's really no exposed hoses except to go to your face piece. So that helps us reduce, you know, the risk of a hose getting cut, this block getting knocked loose. The packs have the ability that we can actually track them if that pass line goes out. So some of the current packs we have now do have it. These ones all have it. The new packs we're going to be buying, and they can program in different codes on the air pack themselves, so you can actually see whose air pack is going off that's in distress. So that's you know, a project that's been getting funded for the past 2 years, and hopefully continues to be funded. And they're ordered, and you know, we're looking forward to getting them in service.
How heavy is
weight?
that?
How much weight does a
The
fireman
weight.
have? That and everything else they've got to carry.
It's over 175 pounds
Yeah.
between
Wow.
everything you have on you, plus that.
Wow.
Yeah, so changes dramatically if you're carrying, you know, a water extinguisher
Yeah, my goodness.
versus, you know, a hook to pull ceilings. So it's a lot of weight. You know, they made them a little bit more ergonomically. They did some designs to help with, you know, comfort. This will actually rotate, so you can be a little bit more flexible, moving around. They added this rescue strap on the back here, so if you need to be dragged out, this is here now where the other packs didn't have them. And then there's some safety features that continued on from the last set to this set. And then all this padding can actually come off, and we're able to wash it better for our cancer prevention. You know, all the synthetic materials inside of houses now, the smoke is getting worse and worse, and more firefighters are getting sick with cancer. So that's a big thing that we're trying to prevent here with the gear washer that we have. And these packs were able to take pretty much all the soft products off and wash them properly. You know, all the gear we're able to take apart and wash. Even the new helmets we're able to take apart and wash. So, really trying our best to prevent cancer with all the equipment.
Hey, Chief, there was a question earlier about the bailout bags that we have, and you know, where we are on that, if we have enough of them and everything else, because I remember the Board of Finance funded those years back.
So, right now, we're evaluating our options because we're at a good place where we have more and more certified people than we have a couple of years ago. And so, you know, cost effectiveness of one device over another, at the end of the day, we need these to work every single time. So we're kind of in the development, you know, research and development to see which direction we're going to go. But in the future, we will be having to buy some more.
Yeah. But you currently have one person.
So not everyone has it. You have to, you know, have your mandatory training for it. That got delayed because of COVID. So, you know, we're getting everyone recertified this current year, and we're going to take it from there to see if we have to head in a different direction. A lot of departments are going with a device that you hook onto something, you jump out the window, it lowers it yourself. Currently, we have one where you have to hold the handle to lower yourself. You know, Darien did some research and development for their product that they're using. We've heard good things from them, so that might be the direction we go in. Just so
they have that, I think, as a capital item for theirs.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
The original bailout bags were great, but they were a first attempt at creating something after there was some pretty horrific deaths in New York City. So we have the original version, and I think what's happening now as we begin to phase those out is there are future generations of them coming out that are much better.
Yeah, so since we purchased ours, there's probably 10 different ones on the market now. Right. So we've brought in vendors and we're looking at different ones, and you know, they have the hands-free, like the chief was saying, and we're trying them out and getting feedback from departments that use different ones. Looking for the most cost-effective, safest way.
Just want to go back with the SCBA replacement. You know, it's been reoccurring over a few years. 2 years, and we have to keep funding it to get them all replaced. It's to keep current with the standard. It's not that we just want a new piece of equipment. We have to replace these. So you said we have.
Or we put it over 4 more years.
So 4 years. So hopefully at that point we can be up to date with the standard that are set forth upon us. On that note, any questions about the department, or personnel, anything else with the budget? If not, we could head up to the tower. I know they're up there.
I guess I would just say thank you. You know, it's amazing to have, you know, you get 50 plus volunteer across the 3 different fire departments. It sounds like there's about almost 200 volunteers, which is pretty amazing for a town of 20,000 people. And you know, I think really a testament to what you all do, and you know, and all of our residents here that volunteer.
But Jim, you can use this as a recruitment. Anybody interested in becoming a volunteer fire department,
Exactly.
contact any one of you.
Yes, and if you
Start
need
at the road nights.
if you need a Christmas tree, you know where to get it.
That's right. Absolutely.
One other thing to take a look at, we didn't really discuss it because I think it's 2 years down the line, but was our parking lot. We haven't paved it in about 30 plus years. That was just one thing we had put on there and looked into. So when you walk out, you'll see that it's in, you know, it needs a replacement at some point. So we didn't really talk about it heavily, not really needed yet since it's not this year, but just to put a bug in your ear, we did put that in for down the road. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you everyone.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
This is good for rain protection. That's
Or it's somebody
Jumped out, and it was like 3 seconds later.
There's projects underway for paving, the fence is underway. We're in for a water main extension with a new hydrant, a classroom. So the guys that are working on some of the projects, Sean Murphy, past chief in Roten Heights, he's a commissioner. He's working on the traffic preemption system. He could detail a little bit more on. We had $300,000 in for a GPS system, and kind of really not perfected yet. There's a lot of stuff going on. He made contact with a vendor that maintains the existing systems that we have in other towns and actually works on traffic signals here. We just cut a $3,000 PTO, $3,600 purchase order for an evaluation of the whole system. And a lot of the parts are available, so they're going to do an evaluation to see what we need. All the fire apparatus now and the ambulances already have emitters on them, so there's no purchase. We want to basically bring our system up without spending that $300,000 for the GPS system. Sean's got a little more detail on that, unless that covers it.
Pretty much it. There's 28 intersections that we have in town currently. So, you know, we have a company like Scott said coming out, and they're going to go through them all, see if they're broken, and if they are, you know, the next phase would be to fix them. So that's really it. So that should be happening soon.
Some surplus there. It won't be that much to repair what's in progress. The fence, we've had issues with vendors and nobody locking in on price. We finally, the gates are going to get taken care of, and the majority of the fence. I know everybody uses COVID as that stepping stone of it's not getting done. That seriously played a role in the supply chain where guys basically said, we can't get a fence. So now that's starting to come back around. We have people locked in for that. The concrete pad extension is underway. Supposed to get, if the weather was good over the winter, it was going to be moving. Obviously, we had a pretty cold, unreliable timing for concrete work, so that's hopefully first week or two of April. One of the projects that's is underway for us is a water main extension and another hydrant. We want to move a water supply up into this area, and then the other area is the classroom would be in this area. And we had talked briefly, Chief Murphy made contact with Mike Lynch about the portable classrooms that are at Hindley and Holmes, and maybe utilizing one of those when those are taken down. So the evaluation has to get done. Can it be moved? Is it stable enough to be moved? Is it cost effective to be moved? So that's underway too.
And then what is there's an additional drainage work, I think that's being done?
Yeah, that is going to be part of the paving. Obviously, if you look around at the condition of the lot, there's been patches here and there. It needs to get done, and part of that would be upgrading the drainage in areas up in here and down around the corner. So all that would just tie into when the paving project gets done.
Got it. And was there something that some part of the drains are they mentioned to capture glass or other catch basin?
Down in that, Brian maybe could touch base on the vac truck comes up occasionally. And
once a year we try to come up here and the town assists us with equipment and personnel as needed. And they'll come up here and suck all the catch bases and everything. Down there, they're going to do some sort of retention thing that catches a lot of the debris that we can clean out a little more often than having the town come up.
And it doesn't leave the property if there's a lot of water. So.
And how often are you guys training up here?
3 to 6 times a week.
Yeah.
We all train on separate nights. We all train 1 to 2 times a week, so pretty often, 3 to 6 times a week.
Do we also, if I recall, do we also make this available to other departments
Other
in
towns
Fairfield
do
County?
use it. The police occasionally come in and do some training on some SWAT stuff. So yeah, other people utilize it.
Right.
Between the 3 departments, like Chief said, it's quite a bit, which is nice.
Right.
We definitely utilize it.
But it's also nice that we're also making it available to other communities as well.
Was there some work to be done on the tower itself?
The tower, over the years, we've put a lot of money back into the tower with projects. It's in good shape right now. We don't have anything in the future for anything going on. It's actually in pretty good shape right now. Yeah, we're very careful on if another agency uses it, there's a representative from one of the departments that stays with them, because a lot of towns don't have this. So they get in there, they want to really light a big fire, which could cause damage to the concrete. So we always have a member of a department here to oversee and make sure that they're not abusing the facility.
Where do they do the bailout training?
You could do bailout training here. We could kind of do it wherever we want. This building's set up to do a lot of roof work. There's parapet areas coming off. This is really where we focus on doing. All these windows open up and come out. Pretty much any of these windows.
And you guys practice like cutting the roofs up there as well, or no?
The roof cutting prop is over there. So that center section is a replaceable piece of wood that goes back in there. So that's basically the roof simulator on it. So none of this ever gets done. The structure doesn't get done. We utilize that. For safety purposes, training is nice. Yeah. I mean, it's obviously.
It also speeds it up too.
Yeah, it's dangerous to get up there, like Andy was saying. If you do happen to, you're 8 feet versus 38 feet. It's a big difference. Yeah.
They don't hear you. And then the truck, that was the propane car was coming?
The propane car is, we used to take a regular car, pack it with hay, a little bit of diesel fuel, light it off. A lot going on environmentally. Not a lot of resets, so usually 1 or 2 sets of firefighters can only put the car out. That's propane fed, so you light the car up. You could have multiple teams go in. Very minimal impact on the environment. You're clean propane, no water runoff that's going to harm anything. So we're trying to catch everything. We have a big oil separator that catches all that. That's another thing that has to get clean. So it's just made it more efficient for people to use the propane car prop without a lot of environmental impact.
We did that within the last 5 years or so.
Yeah,
isn't
that's
that?
yeah.
Yeah, I thought that, I remember when we put that through.
Yep. And part of that whole concrete, it stays on that concrete pad area, so it's really efficient to use. It's close. It's not exactly how you'd put a car fire out, but the training of going up to it and how you approach and all the tactics, it works really well.
And was that a piece of equipment that the town paid for?
Yes.
Yeah, we did that.
So that's just, it's the town, Parks and Rec does their annual cleanup up here, and Brian usually facilitates that. So it's over the winter, that's why it's kind of looking like winter up here. So it'll be cleaned up once the weather breaks.
You're also on the high ground, so the floods do affect you.
Yeah. So that's really what we have underway.
Okay.
So,
Any other questions?
No.
Okay. I think this is very helpful. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Keep us
Thank you all.
Up to date on
Really appreciate
what's
it.
Yeah,
happening with the
we'll see what's
classroom. I
going.
know.
The classroom's going to be a big thing. Having the classroom here, what usually happens now is at each firehouse, if we're hosting a firefighter 1 class, you're at the firehouse, you take a break, you end up coming here. Where if the classroom was here, it's just a lot more efficient. Guys are giving up weekends, Saturdays and Sundays sometimes. So if we could eliminate a lot of that travel time, and we'll meet back up here an hour here over a 140-hour class. It adds up. So having a classroom here would be a super help to everybody.
But these trees would be coming down?
These would be coming down. It would go in this area right here. So that's it. We'll keep you abreast of what's going on.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Again, thank you for your time.
Thank you
Thanks
very
for
much.
coming out on a Saturday. You guys volunteer enough. It's very
So now
thankful.
everybody can go home and warm up.
Yeah.